Hello there, let's continue talking about On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. And in this video, we are going to talk about part 2. But among those, the worst offenders are, I count those who spend all their time in drinking and lust. For these are the worst preoccupations of all. You can give me a list of men who indulge in wars, but they are sinning in a more manly way. It is those who are on a headlong course of gluttony and lust who are stained with dishonor. He uses the word preoccupations and preoccupied in this in this essay to talk about those who are distracted. He uses the word preoccupation for distraction, people who really don't know what they are doing with their life. That's what we say, distraction. And the worst way to be distracted, to not be in your control, is drinking and lust because you are satisfying your bodily needs. Someone who is indulging in war, battles, he is actually doing something manly. He's saying sinning in a more manly way. Still doing bad, but actually they are using their human, you can say human gifts. They are actually using their mind, they are actually using their body, but they are not doing something good with it. On the other hand, people who are drinking and lust, in today's time, you can guess what that would translate to, but it's the idea of bodily pleasures, sensual pleasures. You remember from seven deadly sins, gluttony or lust, as we say here, or also sloth. those are those are a few of the seven deadly sins, and he is saying they are the worst ways to be distracted. Finally, it is generally agreed that no activity can be successfully pursued by an individual who is preoccupied. I think you should paste it on your wall. Preoccupied. Again, the best way to look at a preoccupied person of modern time would be someone who scrolls social media and 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 just obsessed with what everyone else is doing. They really don't know what to do with their own lives and just looking everywhere what other people are doing. That's that's the example of a preoccupied person. Since the mind, when distracted, absorbs nothing deeply but rejects everything. Living is the least important activity of the preoccupied man. Well, very good ideas. When the mind is distracted, absorbs nothing deeply, but rejects everything. Believe me, it is a sign of a great man and one who is above human error, not to allow his time to be frittered away. He has the longest possible life simply because whatever time was available he devoted entirely to himself. For being a very thrifty guardian of his time, he never found anything for which it was worth exchanging. Now he is actually flipping the scenario and talking about people who do actually live a good life. And it is a sign of a great man. A great people are those who actually take care of their time, not to allow his time to be frittered away. And that kind of person has the longest possible life. It's not the calendar year. You can see people who live 60, 70-year old but have nothing to show for their age except their white hair. But you will also see people who are in their 20s or 30s living a very successful, a very intellectual, educated life. So it's not someone who existed long, it's someone who used his time in a more productive, efficient way. Mark off, mark off, I tell you, and review the days of your life. You will see that very few, the useless remnants, have been left to you. The useless remnants, the breadcrumbs, the extra useless part remnants. It's not just remnants, but the useless remnants. Wow, the choice of words. So, remnants means the leftover when you eat food. A little bit is sticking to the plate. You don't eat it completely. Those are called remnants. And he's saying the useless remnants, you can think about it. It's like the end of the day, for example, when you're off to the bed and out of energy and you can't really do anything useful with that time, can you? That's the useless remnants. The man who spends all his time on his own needs, who organizes every day as though it were his last, neither longs for nor fears the next day. For what pleasures can any hour bring him now? Hmm. Someone who takes care of his time, he who lives in the present moment, does not long for or nor fear the next day. Wow, good idea. So you must not think a man has lived long. So you must not think a man has lived long because he has white hair and wrinkles. He has not lived long, just existed long. That's exactly what I talked about. That's exactly what I talked about. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. They are trifling, they are trifling with life's most precious commodity, being deceived because it is an intangible thing and not open to inspection and therefore reckoned very cheap. In fact, almost without any value. Wow. I would again compare it to video games. People judge the value of video game by its price tag. They will say, "Wow, this video game is just $10," but they are not judging it about based on how much time it takes. And it reminds me of Jim Rohn's idea. Jim Rohn says owning a television is cheap. A television can cost $500. Owning it is cheap. Watching it is expensive. You are spending $20,000 every year watching television because if you use that time in a more productive manner, that's how much money you could make. You could definitely make more than $20,000, but that's a good starting and a reasonable point. If you stop watching television and start putting your life in order. But if each of us could have a tally of our future years set before us as we can of our past years, how alarmed would be those who saw only a few years ahead, and how carefully would they use them? And yet, it is easy to organize an amount, however small, which is assured. We have to be more careful in preserving what we'll seize at an unknown point. Wow, so that's the bottom line of this section. We have to be more careful in preserving what we'll seize at an unknown point. And and would you be surprised? Would you be scared if you saw that you have, let's say you are a young person and you think you're going to live, I don't know, 30 years, and someone tells you, no, you only have 3 years to live. And how alarmed would be that person who saw that he's gonna die maybe in a few months, in less than a year? Crazy ideas. You must internalize them, not just read them, not just get motivated by them, but internalize them, make a part of your character. Very powerful ideas. How would you live your life if you knew when you are going to die? And even if you don't know when you're going to die, you still know that you will. That is inevitable, isn't it? Well, I could brag about all of these things over and over, but the video has to end. And in the next video, we are going to talk about part 3. So this is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.